But yeah, welcome to show 30 of MVP Rentals podcast. Jenelle, we were talking a little bit before we actually started recording. You are a real estate agent from the Toronto market. So this show is going to be fun because we're going to get to see a lot of discrepancies between how Canada does their real estate and Wisconsin does theirs. And how that plays. I mean, international, if you've ever done anything in the US, I don't know, but we're going to find out.
I have not. Well, the nice thing about, I don't know about nice thing, but I don't know what it's like in the US. So do you have to be licensed in each state or can you go across?
There's some reciprocity, but some you're just going to have to go exclusive. I think Wisconsin, we get Minnesota.
Okay.
And then I think Florida.
Oh, well, that's so random.
No, you have Florida? No, I don't think so because Caroline had to go and get her license.
That is right.
Okay.
That is right.
So in Canada, it's similar to state, like you get licensed within the province. But the interesting thing about Ontario, it's so big that I'm actually licensed, I'm licensed within Ontario, but I pay real estate fees to the Toronto Real Estate Board. So there's multiple boards within Ontario. So for instance, if you're familiar with like Ottawa as a city, like I don't have access to any of that. And it's only 4 hours away within the same province. So I only pay. Now I could pay for the fees to have access to those boards as well if I wanted to kind of go back and forth. But yeah, mainly Toronto.
That's interesting.
There's enough here. So
yeah, that's true. And that's one thing that we've said repeatedly on the show. Like I'll never stop telling people about real estate because like I don't fear that I'm going to lose out on the deal. So there's so much to go around.
Okay, one thing that I want to ask you guys, it drives me nuts that people are scared to get into real estate because they feel like it's saturated.
Right.
Like as an agent, I'm like, guys, like how many clients do you think you can genuinely serve? Like,
yeah,
maybe 25 a year, maybe like 20 at one time you're talking to. Yeah. Everyone else needs an agent, it's right. Hilarious. The people who think it's saturated and that's their first thought about real estate, I'm like, there's no point to go any farther. Like stop.
No.
Because if that's going to scare you and you're not even in, good luck.
Yeah. When people are talking to me about getting into real estate and I want to become a real estate investor and they're like, oh, what you do is so interesting. And I was like, awesome. What niche do you want to focus on? Mm-hmm. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this is like so much bigger. You just got to focus on what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And then they start to see how big this industry is, where they're literally, I want to get so big, it's incredible. Like I've got my dry erase board planned out with like decades to go of what I want this to turn into.
Cool.
And I think the nice thing in real estate is there's so many different niches that you can kind of like get into. Like you guys are real estate agents, but there's also the people that support you guys, like me. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can still like put your hand in real estate and like listen and learn and grow. And you can become a licensed agent or you don't necessarily have to be it. You can still be around those people that are investing.
Yeah.
I think you can, as a real estate agent, the lifestyle it looks glamorous, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, you guys get paid so much money. And I think like, yeah, we work all the time. Our hourly rate can sometimes get low.
Right. Yeah. You see the memes where it's like the Jurassic Park meme, like this is what it actually is. And then you see like the fluffy puppy meme where it's like, this is what people think it is. And it's like, no, it's the Jurassic Park one for sure.
At some points. Absolutely.
Well, just even for me, like I give you and Marcus so much props because I couldn't deal with the stress and the unknowns of actually being an agent. That's just on my end. I'm a high anxiety person, so it wouldn't work for me.
Oh yeah, you would not enjoy this.
No, but I came into it thinking I wanted to be a real estate agent, but then when I found the marketing aspect of it, I was like, there you go. Ding.
Yep.
So
now you can make your career on just that little like sliver of it.
Yeah. So there are so many spectrums that you could get into within the wonderful world of real estate. Got it out. Finally.
But so I am excited to learn about Canada because the only thing I know right now is loonies, toonies, and then poutine. That's it.
Poutine. I love poutine.
I had a roommate in college from the Toronto area, and that is what he taught me in 3 years of living with me.
And that's how you gain a lot of weight in university, and we've all been there.
It is great. Like his homemade stuff was amazing.
Oh,
not gonna lie.
I actually haven't had a poutine in a long time. Wow. Maybe I'll do that soon.
Is that as big in Canada as he portrayed it to be?
A little bit more in Montreal area.
Oh, okay.
But it's still a thing.
It's like cheese for us in Wisconsin, Marcus.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good parallel. All right, so let's find out about Canada. Are you more of a buyer's agent? Are you more listing? Do you like a mix? Like, how do you organize your business? Hold on, before we get there, I'm sorry, I missed our first question. Tell us how you got.
No kidding.
Yeah, tell us like background. You were born where? Got a job here, went to school here, ended up here.
You don't have to tell us where you were born, but you can if you want.
Previously to real estate, I was working in marketing, mostly performance marketing and growth marketing for startups. And I'm a pretty ambitious person, so I always disliked the glass ceiling above me and having to only allowed to have a conversation about salary maybe once, maybe twice a year. And it was all very political in how you got salary increases. And I just didn't like the lack of meritocracy in those industries. Even though I enjoyed my job, I was just like, I'm too ambitious to be here. And actually, when I was in Florida with a friend of mine on vacation, and it was right when Selling Sunset came out. And she was like, oh, like, have you heard of this new show? And I'm like, no. She's like, let's just watch it. And I was like, okay, I have no idea what we're watching. And we started watching an episode, and I love like reality TV anyways. It's like my favorite.
Me too.
And it's so good.
I'm right there with you.
Mm-hmm. And then just throughout like the first episode, and this is like a good friend of mine, she looked at me and she's like, Jenelle, like, I don't know what you're doing with your career, but like, this is what you should be doing. Like, this is who you are.
Your friend knew it.
Yeah. And I thought about it and I was like, you're right. Like, that's exactly what I should be doing. And the moment I got home, I signed up for my courses, and kind of the rest is history.
That's awesome. That's like your bestie for life.
Mm-hmm.
Looking out for you.
Yeah, there was no convincing needed. I was like, you're right. Like, I'm not happy. I'm not making near as much money as like my hard work should show. And what I love about real estate now, it's if I want to take a break, I take a break. If I want to make more money, I make more money. Like it's very simple.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's
so
awesome.
Because I'm always interested, and I come from like a coaching background. One thing I always ask the kids, like the first couple of days, was, do you love winning or do you hate losing? And what pulls at you more? Like both will resonate, but which one hits with you? So you're in a situation where you're like, I was unhappy, but then you also see the benefit. What pushed you?
In terms of like when I'm in real estate or before?
When you were in that position, your friend was like, this is what you need to do. Did you dislike your spot that much, or did you see the potential of?
Oh, I saw the potential. I'm very money motivated as a personality type. And yeah, I just ultimately my skill deep down is people and communicating and talking, and like, you know, people who hate small talk, like I could write a book on how to do small talk. Like I'm so good at it. I can, if there's times when silence is nice, but like I could always fill some silence. Like
so what you're saying is you're an extrovert.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess to answer your,
what was that?
I was gonna say there's some introverts that can do it. Like if I know I have to go in.
Clients for everyone. Like everyone, like there's certain clients that I would never be able to serve well. I just don't think we would get along personally. Yeah, you wouldn't mesh. At the end of the day, it's a really emotional process to buying real estate and selling real estate, and you want to enjoy who you're hanging out with. Like you spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah. Have you been doing any virtual deals at this point? I know there's a lot of like stuff going on where you're buying from afar and you can't even see what you're buying before you buy it.
I work with a lot of out of town clients. The nature of, I'm not originally from Toronto, and a lot of my friends aren't either. We're from like all different parts of Canada, but Toronto's kind of like the hub, similar to like New York or California. And a lot of people move here for work. So I do a lot of virtual work because people are moving here, like friends of friends. So I get a lot of referrals. And yeah, it's nerve wracking. Like I wouldn't want to be in their position. You don't actually know what this place looks like until the day you're moving in. So the nice thing about it is I'm a little too honest sometimes, and I'm very vocal about what I think about the place, and I'll send videos and everything. And I'll say no before they say no.
Do you guys do like inspections up there like we do down here? Because we have like somebody that comes and walks. Okay.
But it's interesting when it's a really competitive market, especially in Toronto, there's a lot of condos.
Yes.
And I work predominantly in the condo market. So it's like you can waive that condition. You don't need it to have an inspection condition. Right. This is a condo building.
Because Marcus and I were actually looking at properties. I mean, Marcus was helping me look. I should phrase it that way because we are not a couple. But
thanks, Natasha.
But we were looking at condo properties in downtown Milwaukee, and I mean, needless to say, the market's crazy right now, so it didn't end up working out. But like, I didn't even think about waiving the contingency because it is within a unit, or it's a unit within a building.
Yeah, like the inspection's fine. Like, look at the status certificate; it's fine.
Yeah, and the only reason,
like, if that unit is wrong, then every unit is wrong. It's the same structure.
Right. And the only reason we put in the inspection contingency is because for some reason, there was no buyer competition. Like normally your normal transaction is the buyer versus the seller. Right now we're competing buyer versus buyer, and there was no competition there. So I was like,
just about to get it done.
Have somebody go through, give me a list, because I know you're going to hand me the list of the inspection and I'm going to go in and fix it. So it just gives me kind of a game plan of what I got to do to get into it. And obviously it protects you with what you're getting into. So
there's people up here that remove financing conditions often.
Yep. So we are in the market of like 20 grand over a cash offer, no appraisal, no inspection. It's starting to cool off a little bit, but I mean, we walked through a house that was on the market for 36 hours at the time we walked through. There was 90 something showings, 4 offers. It ended up selling like 30 over asking.
Do you guys do preemptive offers as well?
What do you mean?
Like bully offers. So say if they have an offer date, but they're still entertaining an offer coming in before they're going to present.
Oh, like a secondary offer, like a bump clause?
We call them preemptive offers. So basically, say if I have a house for sale now and my offer date is like, okay, we're going to present all the offers this Sunday, but we're open to preemptive or bully offers. So if someone brought me an offer Friday, we're open to entertaining that and not even care about anyone who's going to wait till Sunday. Do you guys do that?
Okay. It's not normal practice.
Yeah, it's a big thing here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Where does that come from? Like, how did that all start? What is the...
I don't know. Cocky Canadians, probably.
Okay. But they're
I don't know.
For...
I actually don't know. But
Canadians are known for being super nice.
Yes.
I've never met a cocky Canadian.
No,
we hide it well.
Oh, well, then. Good.
Humble.
Salute to you.
Played hockey against a few, baseball with some. Never met a cocky Canadian.
No, they're always so nice.
Even the hockey players.
Even the hockey players, which I thought for sure.
No, I had a lot of interactions with hockey players growing up, and they were always so nice. Yeah.
Probably because they know they're better, so they can be that way. Might be.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know where that practice comes from. But that's why I was curious if you guys do that. So I guess not.
No, I mean
you guys will wait till offer day, or just offer, or be like, we're accepting offers up until this point.
We don't have necessarily an offer date though. I mean,
when it's busy, we would go, we put on the market and say, well, we're accepting offers until Sunday. If we get an offer before, that's either, the sellers either can respond to it and say, yeah, that's our best offer, we don't want to wait. Or we can wait until all the offers and send out like multiple counters. So we can counter each offer specifically, try and pull more leverage, I guess. But yeah. The most interesting thing that I found out since I've been in it is the escalator clause. So you can offer at one price, but you're willing to go up to X. So if you put an offer for...
That's so strange.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Oh, really?
No, no clue.
Put in an offer for 200, and then you could put your clause in that you're willing to go up to 225. So if somebody puts an offer at 220, you can just bump up.
Automatically bump up. Yeah. Does that automatically bump them out then?
They can counter back to the other offer and then see if they can go more. But you have your ceiling that you can go to, and it's something that's been used in competitive markets. So.
That's really interesting because sometimes you don't want them to know how high you're willing to go up.
I
so
know,
a lot of the times in Toronto, they'll be like, come with your best offer. Like no playing games.
Yeah. And that's that's the being in it and kind of getting the pulse of the industry kind of thing where you're like, I wouldn't go that route because like you're kind of showing too much if you're trying to be picky on your money or your finances. Or do you guys do rent backs?
What's that?
So actually I've had an investment property. We rented it back. So we bought it in February. We gave them rent until
they rented back from you.
Yep. So they just paid me rent. So we closed in February, but they kept living there until the end of June.
I personally have never experienced that, but I think it's possible. But I've never done a deal like that.
Yeah, it helps out.
For when you're buying and selling, yeah. Like if your closing dates don't line up.
Yep. So my sister just bought a place, and she was living in Baltimore.
Was this your sister?
So yeah. So I was not the agent on her case. I was like, I don't really have the time to do it, but I can help you tell the listing agent because one, the listing agent was working both sides of the deal. So they were already on an advantage because one agent working both sides, less pieces. So I told him to do that and then offer the rent back because you're not going to be there for 2 months. So like, let him find out where he's going. Their offer was 15 grand less than what the other offer was. And they went out. So it was just one piece where like, throw it in and see if it happens. And he actually was like super appreciative and was like, that's perfect because I don't know where I'm going.
You as an agent, do you make any more commission off that?
No, I didn't on that one.
No. So, and you wouldn't like because it's like you're almost doing like a rental deal too.
Yeah. There's no extra commission on the rent back part of it. It's just.
I mean, you could throw it in and see if anyone signs back.
Paid on all rental, and I don't know if. And that's like the fishy thing with me being a property manager. Like, where can I legally say, like, yes, this is how much you should rent it for? Or
why? What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. It's always a CYA.
You think there's ethics involved in it?
I think there's legal. So if they come back and say, like, I could have charged X amount, but he told me I could have charged $1,500, but he told me
you just show them the market comparables, no?
I know, and that's all I would do because they're not a client on the property management side. So I would say like, hey, this is where the market is being rented.
Yeah.
I have a property down this way that's this size renting for this. Take the information and I mean, what do you feel comfortable doing? Because like I don't want them to come to me and say,
agent. Like ultimately the seller gets to choose what they sell it for, but we're going to make our recommendations.
Right. And I just got to be careful with not, yep, this is how much you should rent it for, or this is what I should rent it for. Because then it's like, I don't want to get into the fishy gray area. I would just rather hands off.
I love listening to you two talk. It makes me so happy. I'm just going to sit here and listen.
We'll get into marketing because
gosh,
I want to know, normally what you see from agents, especially, is they've come from sales. So they're in a sales role at some company, brick and mortar. They love the people. You love the people. So what kind of marketing were you doing? Were you customer facing? Were you behind the scenes?
Growth marketing. I was doing influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, and podcast marketing. So all new acquisition customers.
Awesome. So you were talking to people, you were going out networking.
Yeah, it's very like I would lump it into partnership marketing. It's sales marketing. So I didn't do any creative or brand marketing.
Okay, sounds good. I mean,
I do more of the creative stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, when you're talking, I'm like, I don't know what she's even saying right now. So.
and someone not in marketing don't realize there's so many facets of marketing as well.
Right. No, for sure.
Like I genuinely don't really like marketing, but I think I liked or found myself into marketing because naturally I probably should have went into sales right from the beginning. So I kind of carved my way into that side of marketing, but I would never enjoy like doing brand marketing.
And I fell into marketing because I went to Marcus's real estate brokerage at the time, and I started working for them as like digital media marketing stuff, and I was like, what is this? Okay, I can get behind it. I have an art degree, so I was like, just kind of ran with it. But like to hear all the facets of marketing it's very interesting to me on my side. So thanks.
Yeah, I have so much to learn on marketing. That's one department that every company that I worked at before I'd walk in, I'm like, why is this so big? Like,
Don't
you
Such a
got
buzzword, though.
What's that?
What is that?
It's such a buzzword. Like, it
That's true. I think of Barney. Do you watch How I Met Your Mother, or did you ever watch it?
of course.
Okay, so he was in marketing. That's what I think of marketing. Like, no one asks him, or you could do like a New Girl, you could do Schmidt. Like, he's in marketing. No one knows what they do.
No.
Right?
No idea, but they do it every day. And I'm like, what are we getting done at this point? Because it's one of those things that like you can't put analytics on it. Like, there's
That's
Wait,
why-
what are you talking about?
That's
I
why
feel
you
like it's
pay me,
super hard.
Marcus.
I feel like it's super hard. Like, art is not numbers. Like, you can't put this into Excel, and like you can some points, yes. Like,
I was predominantly graded on the numbers side of it. So you can definitely put numbers around marketing. You get no dollars unless there's numbers behind it.
I just think it's so much more creative. It's more fluid than like the sales. Sales is like, how many calls did you get out? How many closings? How many meetings? Like, everything was.
But there's still numbers to marketing. It's how many eyes are potentially going to be on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you break it down. Is this worth it per dollar?
Yeah, and that's the stuff that like way over my head.
Well, you look at, so the way people sell billboards, for instance, is to say if there's a billboard on a busy street, on average, they can tell you kind of how many people are going to pass by this and see this. So then you're saying, okay, it's going to cost this much money to put up this billboard. Then you, as the company, before you buy it, you're like, okay, is this worth how many eyes could potentially be on this? And if it's not, then you negotiate.
Yeah.
You're
No, that
so
makes sense.
smart. I love
And
But
that's the
you're
same
you're
thing-
thinking predominantly like as a designer from the
Right.
brand side. Yeah.
That's the marketing side. I think marketing is the design.
Oh, that's like the tiniest part of marketing.
I know. I think that's like the major one. I got to get that. I have to like turn that 180 in my head to think like that's not what it's not like a pretty piece of paper.
Because digital
there's more
marketing,
to it.
that's all numbers. Like we're
Yeah.
on our phones all day. It's how many clicks, how many links, how many sales, you know? It's
Yeah.
all numbers.
And when I was with the previous brokerage and they were looking at commercial space, like we looked into traffic counts and when people pass and what industries are more busy during the time that there's more traffic. So like,
and what clientele is around, depending on what other stores are next to you, is going to bring a different clientele.
So I'm a marketer, basically.
I mean, everyone is in their own way. You have to be,
A long
especially
history
if
of
you're.
marketing.
I mean, everyone has a personal brand. You had to be a bit of a marketer,
I guess that's true. But
especially as agents.
Natasha does that.
Fair. You can hire out for anything that you want to.
I make things look pretty for Marcus, and then I do whatever else he asks me to do. I'm just like, I'm here. Use me, abuse me. You pay me for X amount of hours a week. Just put me to work.
If I controlled my Instagram, that would be the worst Instagram page in the world.
But then is it really authentic to you? People are following you on Instagram for you.
Yes. And that's what I keep trying to tell him, but he doesn't listen.
Like if Instagram's not your thing, then you shouldn't be on Instagram at all.
But I feel like the company should. I parcel that. Like I think the company is a company, and my personal is my personal. I try to keep that separate. But I did videos for a little bit. We put those up.
You need to keep doing those videos. You need to keep sending me those pictures. You need to do this stuff because she's telling you that you need to.
This is the last time you bring somebody in marketing on the show because they just end up getting yelled at.
This is the third time I've done this to him.
What's your favorite social media, Marcus?
Like
as a user, like as a consumer.
Oh, as a user, probably Instagram, but it's not. Well, no, social media would be YouTube.
Then why don't you just do videos on YouTube?
We've always done just the podcast videos, but no, that'd be a great idea to do like even how-to tutorials. Like here's how.
Because I'm constantly sending those out. I'm sending those out to the guys. Like we're doing mudding. Here's a review video.
Oh, great! Then send those to me, please.
I didn't do them. It was somebody else's. Like I just took somebody else's video, gave it out. Like when we're doing siding, I'd send that out. Like the foreman just send out the mudding one because we're doing mudding in a basement.
Fine. Then you take a video next time and you send it to me, so then I can put it out there.
Deal.
Thank you.
Deal. There'll be costumes. There will be costumes involved. Costumes involved.
I mean, right now, video content is king. Like people prefer that more, you know?
Right. And that's why we jumped over to video on the podcasting because it was just like this audio was great, but it didn't give anybody a personal feel to anything. So
And this is so much easier, in all honesty, to do than the setup for the audio was beautiful. It was just awful to actually deal with.
You can say you hated the equipment.
I didn't hate the equipment. I liked the equipment. It just sucked to like go to your house, come back, and then have to remember to bring the stuff back and forth.
I want to talk about real estate investing. I want to hear what you have to ask.
You want to hear from me, or can I ask you about yours?
That's what I mean. I want to hear kind of what you talk about, like on your podcast with everyone else, kind of what's, you said earlier, a lot of people from your experience is scared to get into the market. Why?
I think
you're talking Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's all over. I think people are scared to, I mean, there are people that do it, so I'm not discounting people that actually jump into it, but it's a scary thing because you have to bet on yourself. And
why though? Do you mean as like a home buyer buying their first home? You think it's scary?
I'm talking about investing. Like,
okay, so they're buying another property.
Yeah.
To rent out potentially.
Yeah.
Can I
what are they scared about?
Real quick? Can I say something? Yeah. So I didn't tell you, Marcus, yet. So this is going to be a surprise to you. But
I can't wait to hear it.
What?
I can't wait to hear it.
We have an accepted offer on a property in Oregon.
You do?
Yeah.
What? You're moving?
We're renting it out for 10 years and then we're moving.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. So super scary though. Like, it took all of my want and wherewithal to put the money down for the down payment or for the earnest money. Like it was, it's still terrifying. And that's why I was really stressed today. And that's why I have a massive glass of wine, because the financing contingencies are like, they're awful right now.
But why are you nervous about the financing conditions? Where do you get that figured out with the bank?
We tried to use our personal bank, but they won't lend in Oregon. So now we're having to find a different bank, and we started with a second bank, and it was just one of those things where you get emails and everything was like kind of incorrect. And there were so many like incorrectnesses within like the strew of emails today that I was like, nope, I can't move forward with this mortgage company. I feel like something really bad's going to happen.
What? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why isn't the banks like across the US? Why would it have to be specific state?
No, there's some banks that just are within the state.
Yeah.
Really?
So
So this bank,
and then there's some banks and credit unions that do go nationwide.
Yeah.
It's all depending on their formulation as a company.
So this was a smaller bank that my family and I utilized for numerous years, and we're like, let's just see if we can use them for financing in Oregon. And they were like, we can't do it, and it was kind of last minute. And now we're on our third mortgage company. So it's just one of those things that it's very unnerving, but it shouldn't have had to be this process. But I think that's why some people can get intimidated or scared, because what if something goes wrong? You know, what happens, you know, if your financing falls through, or so on and so forth. Like there's, I can see it from the other person's side too, especially in this market right now, where you do have to go above and beyond your the asking price, because we had to put $5,000 extra on our asking price just to like have them be like, oh, well, we'll receive your offer. And I was like, what? Why did you put your asking price at X if you didn't want to consider that? You wanted to consider more. So
how did you find your realtor in Oregon?
I work for him.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things that everything kind of fell in place. And Marcus, I thank you and I blame you both at the same time, because we had a podcast last week with Mitch, and he's like, I got an accepted offer on a property I never set foot on. Like anybody can do that. And I was like, well, why can't I? And so then I just decided to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
I think I'll take the blame on that one. And I will let you know that this is like 2 years in the making of trying to get Natasha to buy an investment property.
Right.
So, and I think it all boils down to the fear of the unknown. Like they don't know what that next step is. Like I know going to work, what's on my desk and what I'm going to have to do. Once I start throwing in something that's like completely unknown, like so many questions. And then I think just as humans, we're like, well, it's hard. So I'm just not going to deal with that.
Where is everyone's money currently? Like the clients that you're working with, is the fear that their investments are currently in stock and they're afraid of the return on a real estate investment, or are they just not like educated on finances and just like have it all sitting there?
How could they be scared of the investment in real estate right now when no matter what, your investment's going to like go up?
But I guess the issue is they don't know that.
Right.
That's true.
I think it's getting them to understand. So we would put this out. We talked to other investors. My hope is that someone hears it and they can talk and hear from somebody who's just going through it now, who just bought their first property, who bought their 10th one, who just does the marketing and works with other people within real estate, or like just to get them around. Because I think what you put in your head, you're eventually going to start to like absorb more of and see more of. And you're going to see how normal it is. Like when I'm driving down the street and someone's like, oh, I like that house. And I'm like, oh yeah, this person owns it. It's this company. They also own these 3 buildings. And they're like, how do you know that?
Well,
like, because
what you do for a living.
That's what I look for. I mean, that's just what I see. And like you start connecting the dots with who owns what type of building. And there's always like these main 5 to 10 people that you see everywhere. And when I first got into it, I was like, I want to be like one of those 10 people. Mm-hmm. I'm still not one of them, but I don't feel the need to be one of them because like they did their thing. I'm doing my thing.
I was just going to say, you're doing so many different things. So like you have so many arms out in different spectrums of your real estate career. Like, I don't think it's fair for you to compare yourself to other people.
Right. But I didn't know that until I got in. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm cool with not being them. It's just jumping in and doing it. So I'm trying to get more people to talk about their jumps and their leaps and their successes and like their fails. And this is how I recovered to make it now not as nerve wracking for people to buy a place in Portland.
Right.
Because
I mean,
they're eventually going to end up there.
It's super, yes, it's super scary right now just because there is so much interest in houses and real estate, and it's so competitive that it can be a little unnerving, a little like nerve-wracking. But I feel like the end result, no matter what, our property is going to appreciate in value. So
how can you say that though?
How can I say that?
None of us can predict the future.
No, you're correct. None of us can predict the future, but if we're looking at statistics and we're looking at the trends, I mean, I am anticipating us, being able to receive a return on investment.
What percentage do you want?
Percentage of return of investment? At this point, I don't care because this is going to be my forever home.
Okay.
I guess that is a little bit different aspect to look into it. If it can pay for itself and you can pay down your mortgage and you don't actually cash flow anything.
Because we're
just got 10 years of your mortgage paid
We're going to be renting it out for 10 years just to make our mortgage payments. After that, it's our forever home. We're going to sell our house here and use whatever equity we have from our house to remodel our forever home. So for us,
I have to ask a question before I forget it.
Yeah.
No, you were referencing the banking thing and how that didn't make sense. So my question is, in Canada, are all banks sanctioned?
Yeah, pretty much.
Canada?
Like I've been sitting here the whole time thinking of like a bank that's not all across Canada.
Really? So like we'll have like small like there's a really, really, really small town, maybe like 5,000 people, Ixonia State Bank. They're a small Wisconsin bank that just does Wisconsin. But then like down the road, there'll be Chase. And Chase is like...
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have credit unions up there also?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
But I guess that makes sense because they're provinces and not states. So I guess they're organized a little bit different.
I'm not the one to ask.
So next guest is going to be you and a Canadian banker.
Lawyer,
so you can answer some questions on that one.
Ultimately, you're working with a mortgage broker to find you the best rate, but maybe it's the nature of I'm not working with a lot of people buying out of town. Like they're here, they're probably with one of the big 4 banks, and also buying here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What are the 4 big banks there?
RBC, Scotiabank, TD. Yeah, big 3. That's kind of the main 3.
Okay.
I was gonna say out here we've been using, I guess there's 2 kind of smaller, like not town banks, but banks that are, Oregon based or, and we were using a bank that was Iowa based initially. Even though we live in Wisconsin, my dad was from Iowa. My assets are in Iowa. So it was just one of those things that they're like, nope, that's not our territory. We're not gonna help you lend. So
is the rental rate going to cover your mortgage?
Yes.
See, it's a lot different. You need a big down payment to buy in Toronto. So I'll give you
like 20, 25, 30, 40%. Like how much do you need to put down?
Okay, let's put it this way. So I live right downtown Toronto. There was a building next to me. There was a studio apartment for sale under 400 square feet, like a bachelor studio.
Oh my God.
Under 400 square feet.
Crazy. My
house
is 740 square feet and it's a tight fit for the 2.5 of us.
Exactly. And then this place was selling for over 500,000.
Holy macaroni.
Welcome to Toronto.
Whoa.
Canadian. Wow. So that's what? That's $350 US or 400?
Okay, that's not awful. That's not awful that I can see in the New York area. I was looking at the real estate market even in Milwaukee today, and there were some studios going for, I don't know, $150,000, $250,000. Like, it's stupid, the market today.
Yeah, I would say the average like 1-bedroom condo here in Toronto in the 6s and 7s, 100,000.
Wow.
600 square feet. So, yeah, it's about 1,000 a square foot.
To go back to what you were saying though, how much do you need to put down?
How much do you want your mortgage to be is the question.
I mean, so there's no
there is, but it's so under 500,000 there's like a percentage, and then that 501 to $1 million there's a percentage, so it depends.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so under 500,000 how much would you need to put down?
You're quizzing me right now.
You can estimate. I mean, it doesn't.
If I remember correctly, you can do 5, but once it hits past
5%.
Once it hits past $1 million, like you got to be putting a lot down. So say I think you had to put down 20%. So that's a $200,000 down payment.
I was gonna say most of the times here in the US, they would prefer us to put a 20% down payment on houses, just so that way you don't get points. You don't get what else? What am I missing, Marcus? You don't get points.
So they'll do insurance on that.
Exactly. Yeah, we have the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 20% is a nice general rule.
Okay. Yeah. And you guys have like any equivalent to FHA? Like
what's
they'll try to get you in with no
federal
or 3% down. Do you have anything like that? Is it a cluster? Your eye roll makes me seem like it's a cluster.
There's always someone that's gonna sell you on doing something for a lot less down. But I mean, at the end of the day, someone has to pay for the house. So it's either the bank's paying it first and you're paying in interest, or like it's people get really sold on that idea that like it seems flashy, it seems too good to be true. If it seems too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
at the end of the day, this is a home purchase. It's going to cost some money.
Right.
No kidding.
Do you guys do points? Can you purchase points?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So if, let's say you go in, you're going to buy a house, they get you at like 8%, which would be like insanely high.
Ridiculous, Marcus.
I'm throwing out numbers. You can, the bank will then offer you points that you can purchase. So you can front them more money and they'll lower your percentage of interest. It's not really your down payment. You're literally buying percentage points to lower that. You don't have that in Canada at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
8%, Marcus? That's stupid.
What are you talking about? 8% interest? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just threw out 8%.
It would be like 4 or 5.
I think right now we're sitting at like 3 something.
3 is a typical normal average, like interest. Like 4 would be high.
All right, you're gonna get a mortgage for 74%. But
we'll leave that to the mortgage brokers.
Yes, thank you.
The points thing was like a mind-blowing moment when I got into my agent side of things, because that like didn't really equate into like the offer part. Like I knew if I was gonna go find an investor, it was gonna cost me points just to originate the loan. I didn't think about it on the buy side of it. So that was like one of those things that always stick in my head because I had no idea, like the light bulb moment. So it's interesting that it doesn't happen in Canada.
Why was it such a mind-blowing moment for you, Marcus?
Because in my head, I was like, okay, if you're going to go to a bank and get a mortgage, they're going to give you what they can offer with the money that you are going to put for down payment. Why wouldn't they just say like, hey, why wouldn't it just be the same thing as like, hey, we want more of a down payment and you can get a lower rate? They had to like make its own separate category of points just to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll play the game, but it doesn't really make sense to me because I feel like if you want more money, just say, hey, give us more money, we'll give you a lower rate.
No, I totally get it. It's funny because today I was on the phone with one of the mortgage companies and they were like, okay, we decided to put 20% down on the property out in Oregon, just as a general rule of thumb. And they're like, oh no, you need 25% because it's a second home. And I was like, whoa, like, wait a second. I was like, why didn't you tell me that, on our phone conversation yesterday? And they're like, oh, well, it just came up. And I was like, okay. So we'll get the extra 5%, but it's just like, holy cow. And now I'm on the phone with another mortgage company today and they're like, oh no, 20% should be fine. So it's almost like, can we just have like a simple like rule of thumb and just
never.
No.
Never.
Why would we do that?
Jenelle, when you got into the agent side, did you get into a brokerage that like handled the lead generation, or is that something that you just had to like go call a bunch of people, or because it seems like now you're running off referrals?
That's just the nature of who I am. Yes, I joined on a brokerage that is kind of one of the main websites that people search for properties here in Toronto specifically.
Okay.
We're known for like the condo market in Toronto. So yeah, a lot of leads are coming in.
Okay.
But I would say maybe 30 to 40% of my closed deals thus far has been referrals or a client that I took from a lead from the brokerage and they have referred me to new people.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
And as an agent?
Yeah.
I'm in month 8. I'm still within 1 year.
That's awesome. Okay.
Congratulations.
So we're going to now see, when we invite you back for the second time, we're going to see how it transitions from getting more referrals.
I think it'll be mainly referral.
Less cold calling.
Yeah, I think it'll be mainly referral for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Just the nature of like my personality type.
Yeah.
That's so
I mean, you as an agent know it's easier.
Oh, from referrals? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
You don't have to convince anyone.
Right. And the one thing I liked about this new brokerage that I just switched over to is they've got this whole thing where people go on a website, enter their information, it pops into my phone, I can quick call or text.
Well,
so it's more of a warm lead. Like I don't have to go and
they're already coming to you.
Right. And it makes it a little bit easier. Comes with the cost.
There's intent there.
Yeah. It comes with a cost, but it's a lot more effective than me trying to
got to spend money to make money.
Exactly. So for yours, with your brokerage, do you have like those office fees, or is that kind of wrapped in?
Yeah, we have office fees. Yeah. So we do splits on the deal, of course. And then we pay like pretty small office fees. But yeah, our splits are, I wouldn't call them hefty, but like they're good split.
Good.
And it depends on how much income you're making throughout the year. So as your income goes higher, or like as you close more deals, the splits get better.
Perfect.
And then
that's always a good place to get into.
Well, it's motivation, right? To do more business. And then depending on if the lead came from the brokerage or if the lead came from my personal network, obviously a better split if it comes from my personal network because I brought the business in.
Right.
So
good for you.
It all makes sense to me. I think it's very fair how it's all laid out. Like I'm a tough negotiator and I didn't negotiate it.
It sounds like you really found your calling, which I feel like a lot of people are trying to do in their life. But it seems like you found yours, which I think is
a lot of trial and error.
I am on the same boat as you, girlfriend. Let me tell you. But no, it's so good that you found what speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're going to? Like, where's the next place you're going to expand? You don't feel like the person that's going to just like sit in
you don't
what you're doing?
Specify your question. Are you asking me if I'm going to expand across Canada or expand within the real estate industry?
Either or.
Something brewing of aspirations of where you want to take it, either the agent side or personal. One. And I'm sorry, I think my internet is getting a little glitchy on me.
That's okay.
Good. Just repeat it.
Sorry.
personal
That was
side
my-
or professional side. Either one is fine. I think he was asking like, just where do you see yourself going as far as in the real estate realm?
Real estate for me is a ticket to freedom. You can make as much money
Awesome.
as you want. And as soon as I get to that, my goal is very early retirement. I follow the FIRE method.
Good.
So as soon as I get there, then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Are you gonna stick
I
with?
see a beach in a faraway
I was
place
just
with
gonna
a lot of
ask,
books in my
what
hand.
do you plan on doing with your retirement then? Is it literally the beach and a book? Or
Yeah,
is there
probably.
something better? Okay. See, I'm
You
of the like structure where I have to be busy all the time. So
I'll be busy
I can't picture myself retiring. I like
collecting seashells.
I love you. You are hilarious. No, I have a really hard time picturing myself retiring and not having a job or something that like gives me purpose. So
I'm 28 years old. I feel like I got my time put in already into this workforce.
Lived a
you
long,
guys are
long, rough
making me
life.
feel elderly. Stop. Holy cow.
I don't know. I just think life is more than this, don't you think?
Oh, it is
Yeah.
absolutely it is, but good Lord. Come on, guys, stop.
So we also have to think of like what we're talking about retirement. Like my retirement is not like I'm done working.
It's
My
more of a freedom, like a choice thing than
my retirement is when I don't need to go
the
to
money.
work.
Exactly. So it's like then I'd be picking and choosing who I'm helping, you know?
Right.
I like that.
Right. So I like that.
I
Are
think
you
we
going to
talked-
stick in the Toronto condo market to get there?
Yes,
You want to take
actually,
on
yes,
housing?
yes.
Okay, you're just sticking
No,
to condo.
houses as well, but Toronto for sure.
Okay, awesome.
This is where all the high ticket prices are.
I
It's the
know.
most expensive market in Canada next to
I
Vancouver.
can't wait for you. Like things are going well. You get referrals in. Your savings a little bit inflated. You get the itch like, oh my gosh, there's a house over there or an apartment complex or a duplex that I could start renting out. And then you're going to start getting to the investment side. Do you see
We'll
that
see.
happening?
I see myself buying a few beach homes.
She's not coming out.
If I'm gonna buy property, that it has to be next to an ocean. It can still be in Toronto next to that water down there, but there has to be water if I'm putting a lot of money into it.
The Great Lake Michigan you're talking?
Love it. What?
What's that?
What lake are you talking about in
Toronto? It's Lake
Michigan?
Ontario. I'm from the east coast of Canada, so I need an ocean. I might settle for that, but we'll see. I can see myself buying and investing not in Canada, to be honest.
It's funny you say about the ocean. I've always had to be near a body of water.
Mm-hmm.
First was the Mississippi, then it was.
You're not getting much water in Wisconsin, are you?
Actually, I live in an area that's called Lake Country. So there is a ton of bodies of water. In fact, I live like 3 blocks from the beach here in Wisconsin. Nice. So there are tons of lakes, everything. So I've always had to live near a body of water, or I've had to have water running in my backyard. Like when I was living in Baltimore, we had a creek, but like always had this pull towards water. So it's really funny that you say something that you need to be near an ocean.
Yeah. We also have Lake Michigan. So
yeah.
Like,
yeah, fair.
But yeah, I mean the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota market. Minnesota was the Lakers before they moved to
but
LA.
Laker, not ocean. There's a big difference.
They're not oceans. That is true.
Like this Lake Ontario does not cut it.
No.
Oh no, it doesn't make it for you. You need to be near a bigger body of water.
No, this body of water is huge, but it's fresh water.
Oh, you need salt.
Need salt.
I gotcha. I feel you, girlfriend.
Like salt water in their nose.
It rejuvenates the soul. No,
it really does.
You take out the salt and you take out the sharks. I'm game.
Oh no,
I get you. I lived in Long Island for a long time, and the salt water, it does something to your soul. It really rejuvenates it. I agree.
We went cliff jumping in Hawaii, and I was swimming back by the time I hit the water. Like
really?
In midair,
I'm
terrified of sharks. I don't get them.
Anyway, Jenelle,
it's a fair fear.
We have one last question for you before we have to go tonight. And that question is, and this may not be up your alley, or it may be up your alley, I'm not really sure. What has been the funnest, best return on investment, or just most fun home improvement project that you have done?
I wouldn't say me personally because I'm still living in rentals, so no home improvement for me. But I think if I lived in a place and did some home improvements, I think one thing that I would love is an updated kitchen. So as long as like for some reason, I really don't like dining room tables. I've always hated them. I just feel like they're weird. And so I feel like the way people are designing their kitchens now with a really big island and bar stools all around. I think it's a good investment that way. Your kitchen really beautiful.
Here's my thought on kitchens, and you can yay or nay this one way or the other. So if it were me, I like to kind of follow the trends that are happening in the real estate world at the time when they're happening. So I give myself about 10 years for a kitchen. Would you say yes or no to that? Like,
what do you mean?
As the style of it goes. Like,
that's all personal preference.
So
like the moment you don't like your kitchen, just change it.
My thought is, I love IKEA kitchens because I don't know if you've heard about them, but the whole thought process behind them is you put the cabinet on a rail system, and then you can remove each cabinet and replace it as necessary. So my thought is, let's redo a kitchen, and then you can replace it in 10 years for really cheap at IKEA.
Yeah. Well, I think
system.
The ultimate question you have to ask yourself is this home that you're renovating, is it to be rented out as an investment property, or is it for you? If it's for you, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to make the general population happy. But if it's an investment property, you should do something a little bit more neutral and something that's liked by kind of everyone.
But I almost feel like even for the investment property, like being able to have that option of the IKEA kitchen, like if a door gets damaged, then you just go to IKEA, you grab a new door and you replace it. Like it's not big.
That is the main reason why I don't do expensive cabinets and rentals, because I don't want to do a custom door.
They're gonna get beat up.
I just want to go to a Home Depot or Menards and pick up a stock cabinet door, replace it, and then try to reuse the actual like other pieces to it for something else. I feel like that wood is just like good scrap wood.
Yes.
Because they're not made with actual wood; it's all compressed.
Yeah,
it's engineered
basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would never go expensive, just cheap. And it's amazing what sanding and paint will do to just normal cabinets.
I think fresh coat of paint just through anything is going to make a big difference in terms of a rental property.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Well, we hit our hour before Natasha starts yelling.
Oh, you're so good, Marcus. I'm so proud of you tonight.
I'm on the ball.
Good on you for sticking to time constraints, because I never do.
It's not me. It is Natasha. She has yelled at me before. No, we try to keep it to an hour because I know that it's, Friday evening at this point. So I don't know if you are still working, showings, all that, but.
I would be normally, but I have a family get together. So I have a reason to stop working, but I do technically still have a lot of work to do.
Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Like, I think I have a little girl crush on you because you were awesome. Like, I loved listening to you tonight. So.
I don't know what I'm being compared to, so I don't know if take that for a compliment or not.
No, you definitely should take it as a compliment. Like, I really loved listening to you. You have a strong, drive behind you, and I can see that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. It's going to pay off for you, and I'm excited for, you're 8 months in. I'm excited for the next 10 years in, it's going to happen.
From the difference between day one and today is pretty stark.
Yeah. I'm excited to know all the other stuff that you're going to learn within even your first year. The first year, I feel like it's just a shotgun after shotgun where you're just trying to absorb as much as you can.
You're like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah. Year 2, you can start putting the cards on the table and sorting them out to where they go. And then
the first year, you're going to take anyone and anything on. It's a paycheck. You want to learn. But after that, you got to definitely start niching down.
Yeah.
And you know what you want, and then you attract that,
Right.
So
exactly.
We would love to have you on again in a couple of months to see.
Call me when I have my beach home and I'm ready to retire.
Oh my goodness. To see where you are and what you're doing and to hear all about it, because
I'll know I made it when the next time we talk, there's actual palm trees around me.
I love it.
There better be.
And not Toronto condos.
Oh, you're gonna do great. But thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you guys.
It took away from your personal and private time, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. So
Awesome.
Appreciate
well,
it.
guys, enjoy your Friday night, and hope you guys close some deals this weekend.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.